Welcome to our channel, where we explore the most chilling and mysterious stories from around the world. Today, we dive deep into one of the most infamous haunted house stories in American history, the Amityville Horror. This tale of terror has captivated audiences for decades, inspiring books, movies, and endless speculation. But what really happened in that seemingly ordinary house in Amityville, New York? Our story begins on a cold November night in 1974. The DeFeo family, who lived at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, was brutally murdered. Ronald DeFeo Jr., the eldest son, confessed to killing his parents and four siblings while they slept. He claimed that voices in the house drove him to commit the heinous act. Let's delve deeper into the night of the crime. It was around 3:15 a.m. when Ronald DeFeo Jr. took a .35 caliber rifle and methodically killed his parents, Ronald Sir and Louise, and his siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew. The question that has always lingered is why no one in the house seemed to wake up during the shootings, nor did any neighbors report hearing the gunshots. The lack of any signs of struggle raised numerous questions and added an air of mystery to the already horrifying events. A year after the murders, George and Kathy Lutz purchased the house at a drastically reduced price. They moved in with their three children, hoping to start anew. But their dream home quickly turned into a nightmare. To understand why the Lutz family decided to buy the house, it's important to know more about their background. George was a former Marine who ran his own land surveying company, while Kathy was a homemaker. They were looking for a spacious home for their growing family and were thrilled to find a beautiful Dutch colonial house with 5 bedrooms, a boathouse, and a swimming pool, all at an unbelievably low price. However, the house's dark history was a fact they couldn't ignore, but they decided to proceed, believing the past wouldn't affect their future. From the moment they moved in, the Lutz family experienced a series of bizarre and terrifying events. Doors would slam shut on their own, strange noises echoed through the halls, and an overwhelming sense of dread permeated the house. George Lutz reported waking up at 3:15 a.m. every night, the exact time the DeFeo murders were believed to have occurred. The first night, they noticed the house felt unusually cold, despite the heating system working perfectly. George began to obsessively chop wood to keep the fireplace burning, yet the house never seemed to warm up. The children's beds would levitate, and Kathy would feel herself being embraced by an unseen force, which initially she mistook for George. The family's dog, Harry, was constantly anxious and refused to enter certain rooms. The Lutz witnessed horrifying apparitions, including a demonic pig-like creature with glowing red eyes. Green slime oozed from the walls, and foul odors filled the rooms. Kathy claimed to have been physically assaulted by an unseen force. The family even called in a priest to bless the house, but he was driven out by an unseen force, leaving with severe blisters on his hands. Father Ralph Pecoraro, the priest who attempted to bless the house, reportedly heard a voice scream, "Get out!" upon entering one of the rooms. He advised the Lutz family to never sleep in that room. Shortly after his visit, Father Pecoraro experienced flu-like symptoms and his car inexplicably broke down. These events deepened the family's fear that the house was under some dark influence. The Lutz experiences grew progressively worse. George's personality changed dramatically. He became sullen, angry, and obsessed with the history of the house. He spent hours in the basement, where he discovered a small, hidden room that wasn't included in the house's original blueprints. This room was painted red and seemed to emanate a palpable sense of evil. George's behavior worried Kathy, who noticed he was becoming increasingly aggressive and distant. Kathy herself suffered from frequent nightmares about the DeFeo murders and felt an almost constant presence of something evil. She found strange welts and bruises on her body, which had no explainable source. The children began to act out in ways that were completely uncharacteristic for them. Their youngest daughter, Missy, developed an imaginary friend named Jody, who she described as a demonic pig. In desperation, the Lutzes reached out to paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens were well known for their work in the field of the paranormal, having investigated numerous haunted locations. Upon entering the house, Lorraine claimed to sense a dark presence and described it as being of a demonic nature. The Warrens conducted a seance and captured several eerie photographs, including one that appeared to show a young boy peeking out from one of the rooms, despite no children being present at the time. The Warrens' investigation suggested that the land on which the house was built had a troubled history. It was believed that the house was built on a site where Shinnecock Indians had once abandoned the mentally ill and the dying. There were also rumors that the house had been used for satanic rituals by a previous owner, John Ketchum, who was said to be a notorious black magician. As the days turned into weeks, the Lutz family's experiences became increasingly unbearable. George found himself possessed by an overwhelming urge to harm his family. Kathy levitated off her bed, and their children's behavior grew more erratic and disturbing. One night, the family was awoken by loud banging noises and witnessed their doors and windows slamming shut violently. Terrified, they realized they could no longer stay in the house. After just 28 days, the Lutz family fled the house, leaving all their belongings behind. They drove to Kathy's mother's house, where they immediately began to feel a sense of relief. Despite being away from the house, they were haunted by nightmares and strange occurrences for several weeks. The emotional and psychological toll on the family was immense. Despite the widespread belief in the Lutz story, many skeptics have questioned its authenticity. Some investigators found no evidence of paranormal activity, and DeFeo's lawyer even claimed the whole story was a hoax concocted to earn the Lutz family money. In a 1979 interview, William Weber, Ronald DeFeo Jr., E's defense attorney, asserted that he and the Lutz had concocted the horror story over many bottles of wine. This claim sparked significant controversy and debate over the legitimacy of the Lutz experiences. Furthermore, several people who lived in the house after the Lutz reported no unusual occurrences, leading to more skepticism. Critics argued that the Lutz family's financial struggles might have motivated them to fabricate the story for monetary gain. Nonetheless, the chilling details and the psychological trauma reported by the family are hard to dismiss entirely. Legacy of fear. The Amityville Horror has become a cultural phenomenon, inspiring numerous movies, documentaries, and debates. The house itself has become a tourist attraction, drawing paranormal enthusiasts and curious onlookers alike. Despite changes in ownership and attempts to downplay its haunted reputation, the house remains one of the most well-known haunted locations in the world. Whether you believe the house is truly haunted or not, the story of the Amityville Horror remains one of the most compelling and terrifying tales of the supernatural. It raises important questions about the nature of evil, the power of belief, and the impact of traumatic experiences on the human psyche. Thank you for joining us on this spine-tingling journey into the heart of one of America's most haunted houses. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the Amityville Horror is real? Or is it just an elaborate hoax? Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.